Hi everyone. In the last video, we learned about throughput, capacity, bandwidth, and saturation, and we saw how these four metrics are interlinked. So in this video, we'll focus on these four metrics again, and we'll see why these metrics are very important to us. So let's say we have a server and there are requests coming on this server, and the number of requests that are coming on this server is exponentially increasing, and it increases to a point where the server goes out of memory, and an out of memory signal is triggered and the server crashes. Okay, now to prevent such scenarios from happening, right, we should always do the capacity planning of the system. Okay, or rather, doing for a system, we should always do capacity planning for all the subsystems that we have. Let's say if there is network involved, if there is databases involved, if there are servers in the system, there are gateways in the systems, if there are message queues in the system, right? So for all these subsystems, we should do the capacity planning so that we know the capacity of each components, and we can know when the saturation level is nearing 100%, and we can take preventive measures so that such crashes do not occur and it does not affect our reliability as well as the availability of the system, right? Now, what are the measures that we can take when your saturation level is nearing 100%? So let's say there's a system where the saturation level of a server is at 90%. So it's nearing 100%. So what are the measures that we can take so that it does not breach the capacity? So the first measure is basically load shedding. So the server can be intelligent that if I am reaching the 90% of my capacity, right, the throughput is reaching the 90%, or let's say saturation is at 90%, right? What it can do is, let's say if it is getting 100 requests per second, so out of those 100 requests, it can just cater to, let's say, 80 or 70 based on whatever you are configuring. And for the rest 30 or 20 requests, it can just reject those requests deliberately back to the client, saying that the server is overloaded and status code of 429 on an HTTP reject request can be sent. Okay, so this is basically your load shedding. You are basically deliberately shedding the request, you are rejecting the request because you are already overloaded and you don't want the saturation to reach 100%. The second and the obvious process is auto scaling. So let's say if you've already reached 90% and you have one pod of a service, you can scale out to 2 pods. So now each one will just cater to 45% of the request. So you need to have a load balancer in front so that it can intelligently load balance equally to both the pods, right? So auto scaling can be used. The third one that we can use is backpressure. So what happens during backpressure is the server, let's say there's a client gateway, or let's say there's a gateway, and the gateway is requests allowing the requests to go to the servers. Okay, so and the server has reached already the 90% saturation mark. So what the server can do, it can let the gateway know that I have already reached 90%. So either you slow down the request that you are giving me, or you do not let any other requests come based on the configuration again. So once the gateway slows down, the number of requests reaching the servers will decrease and the saturation level will also decrease. So these are the three simple ways how we can limit the capacity breach of the systems. So that's it for this lecture. Thank you.